Hey Tim, how you doing?
I'm good. Like your background.
Thank you. Yes, I got the memo.
Exactly.
But I watched Taurus yesterday and I was blown away with it. I mean, this movie was so great, and I got to learn in a way about the music industry and how the price of fame can affect someone so bad.
Yeah.
And I think overall you did an excellent job on the film.
Thank you so much. I'm glad. I'm so glad it connected to you.
So my first question is, where did the idea for the film come about?
Sure. Well, I have like a long kind of fascination with musicians and music and musicians' lives, especially kind of on the darker side of things. Like, musicians like Kurt Cobain or Thelonious Monk or O.V. Wright or Amy Winehouse, these people who, are touched by God, like they have just unreachable talent, and yet they can't exist in the world as normal people. They struggle to just live a regular life, and also like that connected to the 27 Club, these musicians who die too soon. I mean, it's not just Jimi Hendrix, it's happening last week with Takeoff, like
Yeah,
young artists who for some reason or other are not able to fulfill their promise and end in tragedy. That I thought was not, no one had made that movie in the way that I had been interested in it. And I thought I had the right sensibility to do so. I didn't want to do that with an actor, just an actor. And I was lucky enough to meet Colson when we were making a movie, a Western together. And we just hit it off. And it was immediate. We're an odd couple, but we really kind of speak the same language. And both, he's this kind of global dominance rock star, but what he really is an artist who just wants to go all the way. He just wants to go as deep into something as he possibly can and come out changed. And that's how I view my artistic process. So I said, if you ever want to do a movie about a musician, a damaged musician, AKA kind of you, let me do it. And he said, absolutely. And then I went and wrote the script, and he loved it, and yet felt comfortable enough to expand on it. And I felt comfortable enough to let him expand on it and collaborate on it and not be too proprietary about it. And our relationship just went from there.
that's amazing. Speaking of Colson, I mean, you could tell he's very committed to the film. I mean, I felt like it felt like a documentary feel in a way, like the
Yeah.
way it was all presented. He's going through everything. It's like the downward spiral of fame that he's going through, but yeah, he wants to go out on top. It seems like he knows
Yeah.
what's in store for him. But I like the fact that he spends the movie trying to find that inspiration for that last song. It's like
Yeah.
he knows that something's going to happen, but he wants to go out with a bang in a way. And
Yeah. The movie. It's like Amadeus. He's writing his own requiem. You know what I mean? And he kind of knows it, and he knows that it's one of the things that he's going to leave behind. And I think for Colson, and the idea of documentary, the movie is very much this gray area between fact and fiction, and I find that really fascinating in movies. And that's one of the things that Colson brings to it. He brings this idea of it's at times pure performance. Like, he's not doing drugs. He's not really walking out into the middle of the street all fucked up. Like, that's stunt. That's all concocted, very, very precise filmmaking. But at the same time, there are moments that are pure documentary. So they both feed each other. So you're
yeah,
watching something, and you're never quite clear if you're watching Machine Gun Kelly fall apart, or if you're watching a character fall apart, or what exactly you're seeing, but you're immersed in it. And I find that fascinating. You couldn't do that with anyone other than him.
no, like he totally, like, if he does not get an award for this movie, I'm gonna be
I
like,
know.
that's not right, because this was, I mean, honestly, this is like Oscar worthy, the way he just pulled everything off. In my opinion, he just nailed it to the bone, not just as a musician, but even as an actor. We see him, when he's not doing music, the single dad,
Yep.
trying to get along with his assistant, and they have this love-hate relationship clearly. And it's like she's trying to, in a way, Alana's trying to be his conscience, but
Yep.
it's like he's still fighting it, yet at the same time like he's trying to change.
Yeah.
But he needs that spark to make him change. And and I like how he starts to go on a good side, but then one little thing happens, and yet he doesn't remember what happened. So I find that very fascinating with that character.
Yeah, I mean, it feels it's an incredible performance, and again, it's about, listen, most people who have like public personas like him aren't going to necessarily want to be passed out in a pool while their daughter's talking to them, because the audience is going to think that's really Colson Baker, that's really Machine Gun Kelly. So he's opened himself up to really real risks of being so vulnerable, being so open to it. And that's the sign of a really great actor, not someone who's just trying to be a star, but someone who's trying to expose themselves in some way. And then the relationship he has with Ilana is the core of the movie. They're a couple in a way, even though they're not romantic, they're the married couple as much as
exactly
his ex,
Yeah, they bicker back and forth, and especially the blowout in the studio with the interview when he finds a live stream, and then all of a sudden it just cuts to work. He's getting the makeup done, and it's like, all right, you guys made up already. All right, that's fine.
Yeah, it's
but
like
I like that.
Relationship.
Yeah, it felt like, and Maddie did an excellent job. She had such great chemistry with Colson on that film.
She's a fantastic actor, and they really, they didn't spend a lot of time getting to know each other or anything, and they just kind of clicked in. Again, I think it's a testament to people who were involved in this movie, from from the financiers to the PAs. We all wanted to make the same movie, and if you're all directed in the same place, you have the same momentum, then how aren't they going to do that scene perfectly? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all chemistry, but it's all the will to kind of connect in the same direction.
Yeah, and then Scoot as Ray was great as well. I like the scene where it was just after. Yeah, and then the way he comes in and he's like, I told my kid to put his, I like the little speech he gives where he tells his kid to put his phone down.
Yeah.
And he actually had to pay him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're like one of my kids." Like, basically,
yeah.
I thought that was a great scene between the two of them, because
agreed.
It had that manager artist like riff to it. Because I've seen stuff like that before. But it was so well done. Like, again, it was like, it has to do with the chemistry. It seems like Colson has such great chemistry with everyone on the set of this movie.
I agree. I mean, I think again, he's a magnet. You know what I mean? He's really a magnet, and the people who he repels, it's a different thing. But he and Scoot, clashed a little bit on set, not as people, but as characters. Like they were like frustrated with each other, and it comes out really, really classically. They didn't hang out as buddies, like usually. Actors hang out and get to know each other backstage and stuff.
Yeah.
They did not at all. They were just invested in who they were as characters. And I think that's, people came in, saw how serious Colson's taking it, and they follow suit. And, a person like Scoot, I mean, he's an incredible actor. He's worked with the best. He's worked with all these incredible talents and incredible directors. And, he comes in the set and he sees we're serious. And so he digs in.
Yeah, he puts in. It's like he put 150% in.
For sure.
And there were a couple shots that I found so amazing in the film, from when hanging over the window in the car, one scene, and then of course, as you mentioned, the scene where he's laying on the street, totally messed up, and then, not to spoil it, but that final shot was what got me, where he's walking on the beach. And the camera turns upside down, and it's just, that is by far one of the most phenomenal shots I have seen in the history of cinema. Because I was so unexpected, and it was just like, oh my God. It's like I figured out what it was, but just the fact that the way it was done was so amazingly executed.
Thank you. That was one of the first shots I came up with in my head for the movie. The end, that end shot, kind of drowning into heaven, and but that's a testament to the grips, the electrics, and the camera crew. That was the tide was coming in, the sun was going down, they were digging a moat around the crane, yet we had to get the perfect circular upside down move. So the cinematographer, John Brawley, and his teams, they're the ones who really executed that.
Yeah, that shot was like by far like one of the best shots ever. And if that does not get any recognition, any film class down the road, I'm calling someone out on that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I appreciate it.
So how long did shooting take on the film, and what were the challenges, if any, that you faced during production?
Well, it was a 20-day shoot. It was supposed to be a 22-day shoot, but we lost a couple of days because of COVID. So, you know, COVID is always was an issue for sure at that time. Although we did luck out a lot, you know, with people wearing masks and really adhering to the rules. I think the hardest part about production was making an independent film in LA. You know, it's just not so easy. Your money does not go very far. Logistics can be really difficult. You know, you can't have any of the trucks up near the house with the pool, so you have to take vans to get to the house. I mean, just base camps far away, like all these things that if you're in Ohio doesn't happen.
Right.
So I would say logistically LA was a hard part about it, but you know, the movie was not a difficult movie to make for me, and I think it was a challenging movie to make for a lot of people, but everybody was, you know, on a journey. And I think that's the best kind of movie, when you're not thinking about overtime, when you're not thinking about packing up the truck, when you're not thinking about anything other than how you can contribute to this movie. And it's a testament to the crew, from the PAs to the producers. They were all in it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, man, this was a great film, and I'm hoping everyone will get to see it when it comes out next week.
Thanks.
So with that said, what is next on the list that you can talk about? Is there any upcoming projects that you're able to talk about?
Well, I have a few projects that are in different stages of development. I can't really talk about all of them, but I can say that one of them is with Colson. So I think it's important, once you meet people who you really, you know, want to work with and want to work with you, you keep doing it.
Yeah.
So he's one of the projects, and that's a exciting one. And then there's one that's probably up first, that's a little bit more commercial, but still a very soulful movie, and hopefully a great journey as well. But I can't talk about it until it gets announced.
All right, that's awesome. Well, Taurus will be out on November 18th. And guys, I'm telling you right now, Colson Baker, he's got to get some sort of nomination or some accolade for this role, because this was such a phenomenal film. It's, you know, like you said, like Tim said, it's Taurus faction fiction, but still, it's just an amazing performance from him. And he gave it like 150%. And Tim, man, thank you so much for talking about the film, and I hope it does really well.
Thank you. I appreciate the interview.
All right, we take care, and talk soon.
All right, man. Take it
All
easy.
right. Bye-bye.